Welcome back to On the Same Page. We are on Daf Yud Aleph Amud Aleph, 11a of Maseches Rosh Hashanah. Of Maseches Taanis. And we are at the very bottom of the page. We left off, last week's shir got cut off at the end, so we'll redo that last line. The Gemara had a machlokas, a dispute between Shmuel and Rabbi Elazar. Shmuel said that a person who fasts is called a chota, is called a sinner. Where did he learn that from? Because when it comes to a nazir, a person who takes an oath to abstain from, among other things, to abstain from any grape product, so it says there that after his nazirus, at the completion of his term, so it says that he brings a karban, v'chaper alav mechata ala nefesh, that he brings an offering as an atonement for the sin against himself, or on a sin on a person, on a nefesh. So Shmuel said, you see that a person who becomes a nazir, who abstains from wine, he's being matar himself, he's causing himself suffering, and he's called a sinner. So if he's called a sinner, then all the more so someone who abstains from everything and fasts would be called a sinner. And Rabbi Elazar said no. Rabbi Elazar said the verse calls him kadosh. It says kadosh yeh gadol para. Someone who is a nazir, grows out his hair, is called kadosh, is called holy. So the Gemara asked, according to Rabbi Elazar, that he's called holy, then what does it mean that he needs an atonement? Asher chatal nefesh, that he sinned. So Rabbi Elazar says, second line from the bottom, in the middle, it says, Ula Rabbi Elazar hanikra chote. According to Rabbi Elazar, the Torah calls him a sinner. He needs an atonement. So what's that for? So the Gemara answered, Ahu desayiv nafshe. That's for a person who became impure. He literally, I guess, dirtied himself up. But it means he became tameh, he became impure. Because it's forbidden for a nazir to become tameh lameis, to come in contact with a dead body, or in a room with a dead body, etc., to become tameh meis. And for that, his nazirus ends, his term ends, he would have to restart, and he brings a karban. That's the karban, says Rabbi Elazar, that it's referring to. When he brings a karban after failing to complete his nazirus, to complete his term, so then he brings a karban asher chatal nefesh, for he has sinned. Asks the Gemara, Mi amar Rabbi Elazar hachi. Did Rabbi Elazar really say that someone who fasts is called kadosh, is called holy? V'ha'amar Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Elazar said, Le'olam yimod adam atzmo ki'ilu kadosh sharoi b'soch me'av. A person should always measure themselves, should always treat themselves as if there's holiness within himself. God is within him, there's holiness within him. Shenamar, as the pasuk says, Bikir b'cha kadosh v'la'avo ba'ir. God says, within you is holy, I won't come to the city. In other words, until within you is holy, I won't come to the city. However, Rabbi Elazar is seeing this as a hint to the idea that Bikir b'cha kadosh, it's holy within you, and therefore you shouldn't weaken yourself. You're a holy person. And therefore, it's wrong for a person to weaken themselves through fasting. So, on the one hand, Rabbi Elazar seems to be saying that someone who fasts is called kadosh, is called holy. On the other hand, he's saying a person's insides are kadosh. There's holiness within you. You shouldn't cause suffering, cause weakness by fasting. So it's a contradiction. So the Gemara says, lo kashya. It's not a contradiction. Hada matzi litzurei nafshe, hada lo matzi litzurei nafshe. One is talking about where he can handle it. He's matzi litzurei nafshe, he can handle a little bit of suffering, a little bit of pain, a little bit of weakness. That person, says Rabbi Elazar, that's a kadosh. That person is holy for fasting. But a person who's lo matzi litzurei nafshe, a person can't really handle it. It's going to put them out for a few days or cause them to feel sick, etc. So that person should not fast. That person is called a chota, a sinner. Now again, we're talking about taking our extra fasts, the specific fasts of Yom Kippur, Tisha B'Av, so those are their own category. We're not talking about that. We're talking about additional personal fasts, or perhaps for rain, or things like that. Reish Lakish Amar Nikra Chassid. Reish Lakish said, someone who fasts is called a chassid, he's called a righteous. Shenemar, as the verse says, Gomel Nafsho Ish Chased, which literally would mean a person is gomel to themselves. Gomel Nafsho Ish Chased, a person is gomel, gives to themselves kindnesses, but Reish Lakish is interpreting it as gomel. Rashi says possibly from the word b'yom hi gamel as yitzchak, weaning, that a person who weans himself, a person who resists and abstains, is called ish chased. Or Reish Lakish is saying he's a chased, he's righteous. By abstaining, by fasting, a person is called a righteous. However, the verse concludes, va'ocher she'ero v'gomer. The end of the verse says, a person who afflicts his flesh is achzari, is called cruel. So a person, Reish Lakish is saying, for fasting, a person is praised. A person is a chassid, is righteous. But for afflicting one's flesh, that's a different story. That's called cruel. Again, it could refer to someone who's fasting also and can't handle the fast possibly, or just on a simple level, they are causing pain and affliction to their skin. That's not a good thing. That's how Rashi seems to learn. The Tosfos learns differently. Tosfos says the opposite. No, Reish Lakish is saying that a person who does not fast is called righteous. And he's saying, Gomel Nafsho, a person who gives to himself, Ish Chassid, that's kindness, that's Chasidus, that's righteousness. That it's better not to fast. And that Reish Lakish is agreeing with the opinion that one should not take on additional fasts. Gomel Nafsho, you should give to yourself, Ish Chassid, that's righteous. Amar Rav Sheshes said, Hai bar be'rav de yaseh b'tanisa, if a child fasts, lechol kabo l'sherusei. He says it's best that a dog come and eat his food. Meaning, he's saying it's improper for this bar be'rav, for this young person to be fasting. I believe it specifically refers to a child. And he's saying it's if he's fasting, it's better that a dog come and eat his food. That he's saying let this fast not be worth anything, because if a dog comes and eats his food, so then he doesn't have any food. So then he's not fasting because he thinks it's a righteous thing. He's fasting because he has no food to eat anyways. So Rav Papa Rav Sheshes is trying to take away he's saying you shouldn't be doing this in the first place, and therefore it's better that there's no merit in this. Let's have it that when you try to fast, let's make it that it's not worth anything, because we'll make it, he's saying a dog should come and eat your food, you won't even have any food then, and then your fast won't be worth anything, because why are you fasting? Are you fasting because you want, you're praying for something, or are you fasting because you don't have any food? Well, if you don't have any food, then you're fasting because you don't have any food. So Rav Sheshes is saying, since it's better that you not fast in the first place, what's fit and right to occur is that a dog comes and eats your food, so you don't even have the merit that would go into fasting. Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba. Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba said, "Ein Taanis tzibur bebavel ela Tisha B'av bilvad." The only full Taanis, full fast in Babylonia is Tisha B'av. Rashi says it means the only fast, this is in addition to Yom Kippur, but the only rabbinic fast, I guess, that was observed in Babylonia for 24 hours. And they wouldn't wear leather shoes, etc. That was Tisha B'av. And that's true for us also, that the only full fast, where we fast all 24 hours and don't wear leather shoes, etc., is Tisha B'av. Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba, Amar Reish Lakish. Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba said in the name of Reish Lakish, Ein Talmid Chacham Rashai Leisha B'Taanis. a Talmid Chacham, a Torah scholar, is not permitted to sit and fast. I guess, again, a voluntary fast. Why? Because as a result, he is lessening his service of heaven, his service of God. If a person is fasting, and a person is an Eved Hashem, they're a servant of God, they go out and they teach and they learn, etc., and now as a result of fasting they can't do that, so he says that's not worth it. You got to weigh whether it's worth it. He's saying that it's not worth it to fast if a person is engaged in Torah study, because that's going to lessen their ability to serve God. Okay. The Mishnah had said that in these fasts that we're talking about here, which is fasts for rain, so they would eat the night before. The fast was only during the daytime. Amr B'Zeira, Amr of Huna. B'Zeira saying the name of Rav Huna. Yachid shekibel alav Taanis. An individual who accepts upon himself a fast. So this could be a personal fast, or perhaps also in the Mishnah we talked about the Yechidim, the individuals who take on a fast for rain. So it says, Afilu acha v'shasa kol halayla, even if he ate and drank the whole night, l'machar hu mispal tfilas Taanis. In the morning, he will pray the tefillah, the special tefillah for a fast, the special prayer of Anenu. We adding on a fast day, so we actually only add it in Mincha, but the Chazan adds it at Shachris, and that is the prayer of Anenu Hashem, Anenu b'yom tzom Taanisenu, God should answer us on our fast day, ki b'tzara gedola anachnu, we're in a great difficulty. So the Gemara is saying if a person accepts a fast upon themselves, then they would say Anenu in the morning. Even though they ate all night long, because again the fast is only during the daytime, they would still say Anenu right at the onset of the fast in the morning. What about Lan B'Taanisa? If he slept with his fast, meaning if a person fasted during the day, and then they didn't break their fast at night, and they went to sleep, and they fasted through the whole night because they were sleeping, and now it's the morning of the next day, and they're still fasting because they haven't broken their fast yet. So then, should they say Anenu at Shachris or not? Says the Gemara, Eino mispal shel Taanis. At that Shachris, you do not daven the Anenu, the special prayer for a fast. So again, we're talking about you fasted during the day, and that day seemingly you said Anenu in the morning. You didn't eat at night, and then you went to sleep, and in the next morning you're still fasting. You're seemingly planning to break your fast. But you haven't yet, and now it's Shachris. Should you say Anenu? Says the Gemara, no, you should not say Anenu, you should not say the special prayer for the fast. So, Amar of Yosef, Maika Savar Rav Huna. Rav Yosef, what does Rav Huna hold? I want to understand this opinion where he's saying not to say Anenu. Svirale, does he hold Ein Misanin Lashos, that you can't have a fast that's only a number of hours? And here, right, what happened during the day, when he fasted, that was one fast. Now nighttime, in the Jewish calendar, it starts a new day. So when he's fasting now at night, so that's a new day, he's fasting at night, but he's planning to break it during the day. So that's a half fast. It was only the night and not the following day. He's going to break it in the middle. So that's a Taanis l'shos. It's for just a number of hours. So, does Rav Huna hold that you can't have a fast that's only for a number of hours, and therefore you don't say Anenu? That's why you don't say the tefillah for fasting, that special tefillah of Anenu, even though your fast is still going on, but it's not a fast, because you can't have a fast that's only for a few hours. O Dilma, or maybe Misanin Lashos. Maybe he holds you could have a fast that's for a number of hours, however, that Misanin Lashos ain't mispal tefillas Taanis. But the rule is that even if you're fasting a number of hours and it's a good fast, but you don't daven the tefillah for the Taanis, you don't say Anenu. Again, one of the practical differences between these two approaches is when a person takes on, let's say, says, I'm going to fast for 6 hours. Does that have any chalos, any effect? Does he have now an acceptance of a fast of 6 hours? Or we say there's no such thing as a fast for 6 hours. So you haven't accepted anything, go ahead and eat. So that's the question here. Does Rav Huna hold, when he says you don't say Anenu after this night fast, which is only a few hours, is it because he holds that's not our fast? You can't have a fast that's just for a few hours. And if you would have asked us at night, we would say, go ahead and eat. You're not doing anything by fasting for just a few hours. Or maybe you'll know, fasting a few hours is a real thing. And you could you could accept a fast for a few hours. Since it's not as much of a fast, you don't say the special tefillah of Anenu. Which one does he hold? So the Gemara says, Amar le Abaye. Abaye said to Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef posed this question, what does Rav Huna hold? Abaye said, Le'olam kasav Rav Huna misanim l'shos. Really, Rav Huna holds you could fast for a number of hours. And he holds that misanim l'shos mispal tfilas Taanis. And when you fast for a few hours, you do daven the tefillah for a Taanis. You do daven the special tefillah of Anenu. So it's neither of your choices, Rav Yosef. You could take on a fast for a few hours and it's a real fast, and when you do that, you do say the tefillah of the Taanis. You do say Anenu. So then, why didn't Rav Huna say Anenu? Why did Rav Huna say not to? B'shani hacha d'ika shows d'lelia d'lo kabel alei meikara. Here it's different because the hours at night he never accepted upon himself. He just continued a previous fast. He had been fasting. He was talking about a person who was fasting during the day, and then he didn't eat at night, and he slept through all the way till morning. So that nighttime fast, he never accepted a new fast. He was just continuing the old fast. So in such a situation, there was no acceptance of a fast. So then it's not considered a real fast, and therefore you don't say that special tefillah of Anenu. But otherwise, if a person accepted, okay, I'm going to fast for the night, and they accept that upon themselves, then indeed they could say Anenu in the morning. They could say the special prayer at Shachris. That's the opinion of Abaye. The Gemara says, Mar Ukva iklo leginzak. Mar Ukva went to a place called Ginzak. Bo minei, and they asked him the following questions. They asked him, first of all, misanim l'shos or ein misanim l'shos. Can a person fast for a number of hours or not? Is there such a thing as fasting for just a few hours or not? And lo hava biyadeh, he didn't have the answer. Then they asked him, kan kanim shel nachrim asurin o mutarin. Are you allowed to use a barrel that was used to store Gentile wine? The barrel was, the non-Jews used the barrel, and there was yayin nesach. It was wine that was poured by non-Jews. It's forbidden to consume that, and it was filling. It had been in these barrels. Are you allowed to use those empty barrels? Again, lo hava biyada, he didn't have the answer. And then they asked him a third question. B'ma shimesh Moshe kol shivas yimei miluim. During the 7 days of Miluim, the 7 days of the dedication of the Mishkan, of the tabernacle in the desert. So during those 7 days, Moshe Rabbeinu served as the Kohen Gadol, the high priest. He brought the karbanos on those 7 days. But there's no mention of what he was wearing. It doesn't say that he wore the special clothing of the Kohen Gadol, of the high priest. So they asked, what was he wearing during those days? So Azal v'shal be midrasha. He went and asked in the Beis Medrash, since he didn't have the answers. So Amr Lei, they said to him, they gave him an answer to all 3 questions. They said, first of all, hilchasa misanim l'shos. The halacha is that you could fast for a specific amount of hours. U'misbalan tfilas Taanis, and like Abaye said, that if you do fast for a number of hours, you can daven the special tefillah of Anenu for the Taanis, for the fast day. V'hilchasa, and the halacha is, with regards to your question about the barrels, kan kanim shel nachrim la'achar 12 chodesh mutarin. Barrels belong to non-Jews that they use to store their wine. You can use them, but only after they've sat empty for 12 months. After 12 months, any taste of wine that's in there is now rancid, and so it doesn't affect the kashrus, the kosherness of whatever you put in there. because it's a bad taste. It's no same tam lifgam. It gives a bad taste. It doesn't affect whether it's kosher, and therefore it's okay after 12 months to use that barrel. And b'ma shimesh Moshe kol zayim miluim. You want to know, what did Moshe wear during those 7 days of the dedication of the Mishkan, of the tabernacle? B'chaluk lavan. He wore a white shirt. So he didn't wear the Kohen Gadol's clothing, but he didn't wear just whatever he normally wore, his weekday clothes. He wore a nice white tunic. Rav Kahana masni b'chaluk lavan she'en lo imra. Rav Kahana taught it was a white tunic indeed, but it didn't have like any stitchings or rims or something like foldovers, and that was because that way nobody would suspect him of taking anything from the treasuries of the Mishkan. And there's a concept, whether you think people will suspect you or not, v'yisem nekiyim me'Hashem v'Yisrael, that a person should be clean with Hashem and with the Jews, that the person shouldn't do anything that makes other people suspect them of anything. And therefore Moshe Rabbeinu was careful that when he went himself into the Mishkan, he wore a type of garb that didn't have certainly no pockets, but no foldovers, so there wouldn't be any suspicion that he was smuggling anything out. And if Moshe Rabbeinu was careful, right, who would suspect Moshe Rabbeinu? But still, he was careful about that. Certainly it's something for us to be careful about, that we shouldn't do anything that looks suspicious, that can make a chilul Hashem.